First of all, I know that topic, right? It's today's topic is my resistance to sexuality in orgasmic words. Gah! I thought that would be eye-catching. Hey, Kate, how are you? I miss you. So check out the Valentine's Day flowers. Isn't that cute? I asked for something small. Apparently, this is small. And the other gift I asked for was for a astrological reading for my son so I can understand him better. So now I have a better understanding of my son. So, isn't this a great late night topic? It's 10:30. We're talking about really interesting stuff, right? So this morning I did this thing called breath work online. It's called neurodynamic breath work. And so go check out breathworkonline.com. It's an amazing, immersive, meditative experience that focuses on breathing. And there are studies shown on psychedelic drugs and LSD and such, and they found that today was a workshop where there's a science behind how neurodynamic breathing works and how people benefit from it. And so one of the things that he talked about was before, when people took LSD or psychedelic drugs, is how the drug works is you have a default system of your brain in your body where you only process like 3% of like the stuff that comes into your visual cortex, and then you'll like process information in a way that ensures your survival is through your frontal lobe. When there is hyperventilation, or when a psychedelic drug or an LSD drug is used, it actually prevents the frontal lobe from working and it disables that default networking system, whatever it's called. So then, instead, other neural pathways are produced and you actually see things in a different state. I'm not talking about hallucination or anything like that, but how the breath work works is a combination of music and a combination of breathing. And if you're familiar with the Wim Hof breathing methods, like you're breathing through your mouth and you're exhaling through your mouth and your stomach expands when you breathe in and your stomach deflates when you breathe out. And it's very oxygenating. Like you'll feel your body temperature decrease and you'll feel like your body becoming more alkaline. Well, this is similar, except you can do this in a sitting or a laying down position. And so this guy, his name is Michael Stone, he's the creator of dynamic breath work, neurodynamic breath work. And what he does is he leads you through breathing. So he gets you to breathe a little faster, which is kind of like hyperventilation. And he has this really intense music. So it starts out really gradual, and then there's a crescendo, which is similar to an orgasm. Funny, right? And as you get to that tension of point, then the music starts dying down. When there's a tension of point, that's also when the music like really crescendos and gets to the high point. That's also when your body is like most oxygenated, and usually there's a lot of tension built in like your fingers and like you can't even move them. And then what there is to do is you listen to your body. Your body will tell you what there is to do next. Sometimes it's like sometimes you want to move your arms. Sometimes you like start crying, like weeping or grieving. Like the first time I did this, first your temperature starts decreasing drastically. Like it feels so cold. Like I had 2 blankets on and had like pants on. I was freezing my butt off, and I was like, I should have worn socks. And then your fingers and your limbs start getting really, really tight. Like it starts building up this tension. And for me, the first time I did it, I felt like I was just bathed in a lot of support and love, and my fingers, they were clasped like this, and they were just, I could not pry them apart. And then as the tension built, is your body's way of using that buildup of tension to release everything out to help you with your healing. So sometimes there's repressed emotions, there's suppressed emotions, stuff from your childhood, stuff from your past life, all sorts of buildup in your body and that you've held on and suppressed over time. Well, when you release all that is when you start building new neuro pathways. And that's when your body can be intuitive and creative, and you have more access to your gut and like to your intuition, your gut instinct, that kind of stuff. And so it's incredibly powerful. And the first time I did it, I was just weeping and grieving and crying. I had all this like suppressed emotion to process. I was probably grieving over like how I wasn't living the life that I could be living. Like I was grieving for the life I wasn't living. Or maybe I was just grieving about like all this stuff I was holding on to, like all my repressed emotions. Like I always thought it was not okay to cry and to open up and to be vulnerable and stuff. So I can see myself just really suppressing these emotions. And then after your body releases it, you can maybe express it in laughter, or you can express it in like sadness. Like in my case, I was just crying and bawling, like tears were running in my ears and stuff as I was laying down. Or today, instead of the crying, I felt this urge to like move my body. Like I felt like energy around this lower chakra, and which is where your gut and your groundedness and your fire and your chi, and it's, you know, like it's so important, like this area, this particular chakra. And then I just felt the urge to like move my arms. I was moving my arms a lot, and I was like, I think my body's telling me, hey, you should run more, you know. And I said that to Michael Stone at the end, and he's like, yeah, you know, and if you feel like your body's telling you should run more, then solidify it, like solidify that imprint by running more, like follow through. And so I got on the treadmill today and did a light run to kind of solidify what I learned today, this new neural pathway that was built telling me to run. And my arms, like they were shaking, like my limbs were still trembling. I don't know from this or just from the tension in my arm. And so I was like, he says, ask your body, like when there is like this trembling or this going on, like ask your body, like what does it need? Like what is it telling you? And I thought, I think my body's telling me you should write more, like a lot, like write a lot, like that's your thing, you should write a lot. And so I committed to writing more. But it's funny because the original guy that created this, his name is Stan Grof. He did holotropic breath work, which is a longer version of this breathing exercise. And it's like a 12-hour workshop with 3 hours of breath work, and it's involved like you should be there in person and stuff. And then when Michael Stone worked with and studied under Stan Grof, he can create this new condensed version where you do it in an hour to an hour and a half, and you do the breath work, and you still have the transformation, you still have the tension and the release of the emotions and whatever your body needs. You know, you just do and listen to what your body says to do, and you do what there is to do, and you trust that your body knows what it's doing. I mean, if you think about it, our body is so complex. I was watching this documentary or movie or something on Amazon Prime, and it was called like Inner Worlds and Outer Worlds, and it talked about like, you know, how divine everything is, and how like nature and the system and the cosmos and everything is so organized and so predictable, and it's such a beautiful what do they call it, a certain pattern, like a spiral like pattern, and you can see it in all of nature and the way the tree branches branch out. You can see how the flowers, like the center of the flower grows, like everything is so synchronistic and organized in such a divine way. It's just astounding. Like there is a whole other world. Like as we go further into like the germs and the system on our skin, our body, like it's a whole different world. Like it's like a whole universe of stuff. Like it's amazing, you know. It's kind of like the movie Men in Black, where at the end you see the locker, and it zooms in or out further, and you see like the locker is like a part of like the alien world, and then the alien world is being kicked around by another alien world. Like you just zoom out like 100 times, and it just keeps getting more and more cosmic. It's kind of like that. But the reason why I titled today's topic my resistance to sexuality and orgasmic words is because some people, when they have like this tension build of this breathwork experience, and then there's the release of the tension, like the crying or the laughing or the running or the dancing or getting a yoga pose or whatever it is, like they call it a full body orgasm, where you have this tension of stuff you know, you have this crescendo of music, and then there's the release, right? So of course it's called like orgasmic, and I it's funny because I was like, oh gosh, like that's what they called it, but hey, gotcha. Like I'm sure this piqued your topic and got you to hop on and see what in the world is she talking about, because she usually doesn't talk about stuff like that. And it's funny because today when I was doing the work, like one of the things I always resist is talking about sexuality and you know, just the topic of it, the exploration of it. It's just like, you know, like to me it's just like something you don't really talk about. Like my parents had never talked about it, and it's just always been kind of like an off limits thing about it. Even when I typed in the note today that I said, you know, Tuan, you should go live about this, like before I even did this video, like I had a thought to not call it what I called it because it was so off-putting to me. It was such something I truly resisted. And I thought, well, you said that you would put yourself in circumstances and situation beyond your perceived ability, beyond your level of comfort. So here's your chance. So that's why I'm talking to you about it today, because usually it's a very uncomfortable topic for me, but it was so aligned with my breathwork session today because as I was doing the breathwork session, like I felt that today, like the first time I did it, the focus, my body knew what there was to process, and my body said, okay, today you are going to process all your suppressed emotions that you've had over the years or lifetimes. And to me, there was a lot of grief and sorrow and regret that I cried it all out and got it all out. Like that was the first time I did the breathwork session. This weekend, my body said, today we're going to focus on this chakra, which is like the chakra of like the core and the fire and the sexuality, and that's also happens to be where my gut happens to hang on to, because it's clearly an area that I resist, and it's clearly an area that I have stuff to process about. Hi, Ava. And Ava is here with Minnie Mouse, and she's dancing with Minnie Mouse. And no, she's not asleep yet, but she will be. She did get a bath. Come here. She's dancing. You have to show them what it looks like. That's Minnie Mouse singing, and Ava was dancing and singing with this Minnie Mouse. Flower. So Ava's pointing out the flowers, and of course she picked out some of the petals from the hydrangeas earlier today. And I was like, no picking, don't pick off the petals. She's gonna keep playing the song, by the way. Oh. I love you too, Ava. That's her new phrase. I love you. I love you. I love you too, Ava. Okay, so I think I'm gonna get lipstick on this thing. You want to stand here, Ava? So, as the music is playing in the background, and Ava wants to be in the camera. She's a natural in front of the camera. She sees her mom doing this every day. And so she has no fear in front of the camera. All right, Ava, I'm getting lipstick on your Minnie Mouse. So to wrap up the topic, what were we talking about? Yes. So of course, the area that I was resisting, the area of this particular chakra and the running to strengthen the core and to clean up this chakra, of course, is all synchronistic and all related. Perfect, right? Everything is so divine. And it's funny because I was watching that documentary I was talking to you about, and that documentary just also happened to also talk about that particular chakra and the chi and the energy, and how it's like so much spirituality and essence is like based on that concept. So it was perfect. Everything is divine and perfect. So that was the gist of my day. It was also no Ava. And check this out. Speaking of sexuality, oh, this is a menstruation cup called Lena, and my friend told me about this. And usually women, like, this is probably not a topic that men really care about, but usually women use tampons or sanitation napkins or maxi pads for their monthly menstruation. Well, there is this thing called a menstrual cup, which is environmentally friendly. You're not filling up landfills with stuff. There is this cup you use that collects your menstruation breakdown each month, and you take the cup out, empty it like twice a day, maybe in the morning before work and after before work, something. I don't know what the time is exactly, but then you never let the cup overflow. You can get a bigger cup or you can get the smaller cup. And I'm so excited. I'm going to try it out next month, and I don't have to buy any more sanitation napkins. Isn't that crazy? So if you don't know about it, there is a thing called menstruation cups, and it's environmentally friendly, and it's the green thing to do, and you don't smell because the blood never hits the air, so you don't stink. I mean, how cool is that? So I'm very excited about that, and we're going all out today. We're talking about all sorts of topics I never talk about. What else? Yeah, so that's what I wanted to share with you about is like, you know, we have like this resistance to like sexuality and orgasmic words and things of that nature, when it's the very thing, like it's the pathway to like the continuation of our existence and our species. Like, we were brought into this world through the birth canal, you know, and so why would we resist sexuality, and why would we resist you know, orgasmic words and stuff like why would it be such an off-topic kind of conversation when it's such an essential part of life? You know, like, and I really got to think about that today, and I really got to think about like, we limit ourselves in so many ways. You know, we limit ourselves about being fully expressed. We limit ourselves about topics we will or will not talk about. We limit open. And you know, and it's not freeing. It's not a way to live. And so, of course, the thing to talk about today was about any resistance you have. And for me, it just happened to be sexuality and orgasmic words. Like, but now I think I'll talk about it a little bit openly. And here is my first chance to try it out for size. And if you didn't already know, I'm a life coach. What is a life coach? I wrote this email to a friend today, and a life coach is someone that you speak to on a weekly basis, and you step into a transformed version of yourself. You step into living a life that is deeply meaningful, fulfilling, and powerful.
I just love being a happy helper.
Minnie's a happy helper. And there's nothing wrong with your life. There's nothing wrong with you. Like, everything is always divine and perfect. We'll let Minnie finish. Are we gonna dance, Ava? Ava's dancing. See, Ava's dancing. She gets into it. So like, yeah, there's nothing wrong with your life. There's nothing wrong with you. She's gonna play this forever. Let's dance, Ava. Let me hide it. So, there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with your life. Everything always is divine and perfect and on purpose. The only thing is, sometimes you don't realize your power. You don't realize the kind of life you could be living. Not because there's anything wrong with the way you're living. She's saying, are you sleeping? Are you sleeping? Brother John, Brother John. I don't know how it goes. How are you today, sir? Very well, I thank you. Run away, run away. I think I mixed together the Thumpkin song and the Are You Sleeping song. They all have the same tune. Do you notice a lot of children's songs sound the same? Huh? Amadaya. What's Amadaya? No. What is it, Ava? What is it? What is it, Ava? Oh, is that a booger? Hold on, let me grab a tissue. That's right, that is a booger that she was going to put in my hair. And now she's playing with the menstruation cup. But I haven't used it yet. And they said that before you use it, you're going to boil it in water. So it's all good. Oh, there's another piece of a booger. Thank you, Ava. No more. No more.
That was just the regular Rexons. That's okay. I got through it. It was good enough.
So, as I was saying, there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with your life. It's just that Minnie's coming back to life. It's just that you may not realize all the power you have. You may not realize the powerhouse that you are. You may not realize you have the ability to actually choose how you live your life. You actually have the ability, believe it or not, to have a powerful, healthy relationship with your spouse. Do you know that you can actually speak to your spouse and talk to your significant other in a deeply healthy, open communication, fully expressed way without fear of being judged or fear of caring a lot about the judgment that is to be had? Like, you actually have that power. Do you know that you have... She's so cute. I just love her to death. And did you know that you have the power to choose to be happy any time of your life? Did you know that? Yes, you do. You actually have the power, absolutely, to live a powerful life. You have absolutely the power to be fulfilled and happy. You have absolutely the power to live into your soul purpose and all that is aligned for you. You absolutely do. Many of us are so caught up in the busyness of life, we're so used to being at the effective life. We are so used to just being okay with the status quo. And then there comes a part of time in our life, kind of like that orgasm before the crescendo, which is probably in your 35 to 45, is when everything comes to a head and you realize, and this is where you form your biggest portion of your identity, and you realize, you know, I could be living a different life. This is when you do a lot of soul searching, a lot of inner reflection, and you start evaluating your life, like you've gotten the fun out of your system, and you decide, it's time for me to start living a really deeply meaningful life. It's time for me to like step into my soul purpose. It's time for me to step into what I came here to do. What about my soul's expansion? What about my soul purpose? What about meaning in my life? What about deep fulfillment? What about all of that? And when you get to that point in your life, that point in your journey, and you realize that you're ready for some transformation, you're ready for some shifts, like you're ready to live a deeply meaningful, powerful life, is when it is the perfect time for a life coach to enter your life. It's funny. I'm 39 this year, so I'm in that midst of the 35 to 45 range, and I'm at that point in my journey where it's time. It's time to live a deeply fulfilling life. It's time to live into my soul purpose. It's just time. I've lived the life, I've had the fun, I've messed around as far as like not really being aligned with doing what I came to do, and I've had the kids, and so now it's time to focus on me and my life purpose and what there is to do. Yeah, no, Austin, climb into bed. Where are you going?
I want to use it.
Okay. Keep it clean. I don't want it on the floor. Huh? You're going to sleep in here today. Is the other blanket dry? Is it in the dryer? Is it finished? Ask Dad if your blanket is finished being washed.
It's washed.
Okay, is it dry though? Is it still in the dryer or is it finished? Ask Dad.
It's still in the dryer.
Okay, then you can use this temporarily, but I don't want it on the floor.
But it can get on the floor now.
Well, hold it up, so don't drag it on the floor. Can you do that? Then use a different blanket. Use the Ninja Turtle blanket. So that this kid has this, Austin, my 6-year-old, he has this blanket that he loves, right? Because what kid doesn't love blankets? He carries it into the car on the drive to school. He sits with it in the living room when he's playing video games. He sits with it in bed. Like, that blanket is starting to stink. Like, it smells like he uses it all the time. And he's just so attached to the blanket. And I'm so glad it's being washed right now. And he's trying to ask for my blanket now. And I don't want him dragging it all over the floor. It'll start smelling like the other blanket. So I'm asking him if his other blanket's ready yet. And I think it's in the dryer. Where was I? Yes, so I was talking about you living a deeply meaningful, fulfilling life. And you actually have access to all this. Like, you actually have access to live a powerful life. You actually are an infinitely powerful being. You are the multiverse manifested. You are divinity in a human form. You are a being of light. You are a child of God. We all are, as human beings on this planet. And when we incarnate into this human form, or reincarnate into this human form, we forgot. We have this veil of forgetfulness. We forgot about our past lives, so we can truly be present and live in this particular life. But we also forgot about our divinity and how powerful we are. We forgot about our true origin. And so, as a life coach, I help you access that again. I didn't realize I had all this power. I did not realize that I could have a deeply meaningful, powerful conversation and relationship with my husband. I didn't realize that I could transform the way I speak to my parents. And I didn't realize I have the power to be a very powerful life coach for my kids, myself, and even my mom. Like, I didn't know that. And until I had a life coach in my life, yes, as a life coach, I have a life coach. Yes, life coaches have life coaches. Until I had a life coach in my life, I did not realize the true powerhouse that I am. You are a badass. You are magnificent. You are a powerhouse. And you have all these tools and everything that you desire to do, everything that you would like to see manifested into this realm of existence. You have the power to do it. It's just many of us don't know how to get out of our own way. We don't know how to move beyond the conversations we have of the self-doubt. We don't know how to like deal with the chatter. We don't know how to deal with the ego. We don't know how to separate it all out, and everything we just conflate together and just simply throw up our hands and say, F it, I don't know, I'm just going to live it out and then die, and then nobody wants to live that kind of life where on the last day of your life, you ask yourself if you truly lived, if it mattered, did it count? Then that just means you're just going to come back and again and again and again. And until you master it, until you like really get how powerful you are, the multiverse is going to keep slapping you around and sending you the same messages so you get it, so you get how powerful you are. And I was watching that documentary I was referring to earlier today. It's called Outer World and Inner World. And they talk about how nature doesn't do anything half-assed. Like everything she does is so efficient and so perfect. Like the bubble is shaped a circle because it's the most like efficient form. Like the honeycomb, like the six, I think a 6-sided honeycomb combs, like it's built in that particular structure because it's the strongest and the most effective way to build a beehive. Like everything is so on purpose and so efficient and streamlined and straight to it, and of course, like if there are multiple pathways to the same destination where you find and access your actualized, fully expressed, fully transformed self, why would you take the longest path with the most obstacles, with the most reincarnations? Like, of course you would take the shortest path possible if you knew such a path existed. I'm telling you, that pathway is through having a life coach in your life. Trust me, it is. It really is. Like, I had this dream that I shot myself twice, and both times I did not die. And I asked my mom about this really weird dream. I'm like, Mom, like what was this dream about? Because it was kind of disturbing. And she said, it sounds like you're fast forwarding through life. You're doing what you could do in 3 lifetimes. You're doing it in 1. Which makes so much sense because I hired a life coach in my life. The concepts and the paradigms that I shift into, like, there's no way I could have done this without a life coach. No way. And the acceleration, the rate of expansion and growth is phenomenal. It's 3 lifetimes worth in 1. I used to manifest that I would live 120 years and it would be the equivalent of 2 lifetimes. Because I thought this was going to be my last reincarnation and I was really going to make it count. Instead, I realized that I'm probably squeezing 3 lifetimes into 1 lifetime because I dreamt that I committed suicide twice. That means that's 3 lifetimes in 1 time. So not only am I living into my manifestations and better, I'm actually tuning into and shifting to a paradigm that is even better than my manifestations. Like, that is like jaw-dropping powerful if you even can fathom what I'm telling you here. It's like, it's mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing. So what am I saying? I'm saying get a life coach in your life. It doesn't have to be me. It could be anybody. Anybody that resonates with you, someone that you look up to, someone that can be an empath for you, someone that you respect, someone that you know will provide a space of unconditional love and non-judgment to take a stand for who you truly are. As a life coach, I don't let you get away with a lot of doo-doo. Like, you are not going to walk in a slippery slopes with me. I'll call you out on your stuff. And because I know the badass that you are. I know the infinite powerhouse that you are. I know the truly divine person you are. That's my life purpose. I'm not going to stand for you being less than who you truly are and what you came here to do. Of course not. So as your life coach, I will always be there for you and listen to what you're truly saying and help you see if there's anything you're saying or doing that is disempowering about yourself. Like, that's what I do. That's what I do for a living. when I first hired a life coach, I thought, there is no way I could ever live up to be the badass that she is. Like Lauren Roberts, she just jumped onto my video. She is like this amazing powerhouse of badassery. Like, she is like one of the coolest, smartest people you will ever meet, with the biggest heart of compassion and love you can ever pour onto humanity. Like, that's just who she is. And I thought, there is no possible way I could ever, ever, ever be a coach as amazing as her and to step into those kind of footsteps. And she said a few times that she is merely an empath. She is a pathway for you to really live into the person you're truly capable of being, because your soul knows it. Your fully expanded, actualized self, your fully actualized, transformed soul, your expanded soul knows this. Like, your soul already knows. The only thing is, you don't know. And your coach knows this. Your life coach knows this. And Lauren always knew this. And so what she possesses is, yes, she is gifted, and she does have this gift of really, really listening to what you're saying and hearing what you could be saying or what you're not saying. And she brings those things into light for you so you can truly get enlightenment and see how you're disempowering yourself. And I realized that some life coaches really are gifted. You know, they really do have a gift of truly listening. But there is nothing that Lauren can do that I cannot do. Meaning, we all have this ability to truly listen to someone and truly hear what they're saying and hear ways that they are limiting themselves. Like, we actually have that ability, and you have the ability to tune into it. Some people like doing it and some people don't. And I realized I'm one of the people that actually like doing that stuff. And when I realized like what a badass, wonderful, amazing life coach I have, and what an amazing badass life coach she has, and what kind of amazing badass life coach I could be, it wasn't so much our skills. It wasn't so much our ability to listen. It is, but it's so much more than that. It's also our commitment to the environment, the space that we provide to you. It also is the energy and the intention we have for our life coaching sessions. And that's what I do for you. As your life coach, I will always set the intention that I listen with my heart and my soul. And I will say what there is to say, and what I say will resonate with your heart, your soul, for your soul's expansion, your soul's growth, and all that is aligned for you. And everything that happens in that space and after our coaching session will always be divine and perfect, and exactly as it should be for your trajectory to living into the life that is completely aligned with your soul's purpose and expansion, always. And I really, really got that so much, you know, as I spent more time with my life coach, and I got to see the progression of all the transformation. And it wasn't just that she was a powerful coach. It's also that all this time that we spend together, all these coaching sessions, this exchange of energy and money and love and all of that, like, it's like you cannot help but have transformation. You can't help but shift out of any limiting ways of being. That is the only thing there is to do, is to shift and grow and expand, because that is living truly an expanded, normal nature way of being and doing. Like, there is no other way. The other way is to go backwards and to wither away and die. That is the other way. So that was a really, really long-winded explanation of what a life coach does for you, but trust me, you want one. You definitely, like, there's a huge difference when you have a life coach in your life. And once you have a life coach in your life will never, ever be the same. Ever, 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 ever. So get a life coach. If you don't, if you don't have one, or if you want to know more about it, like reach out to me. If you're looking for a life coach or looking to live like a very meaningful, powerful life, then yeah, get a life coach. And it doesn't even have to be me. But if you're kind of unsure about like if you need a life coach, if you want a life coach, like is Tuan for me? We can have coffee. If you're in the local Dallas area, we can have lunch. We can do a phone interview. We can do like a video conferencing call. Like there are so many ways to connect and talk and see like if I'm for you, if you're for me, if I resonate with you, if you resonate with me. Because hey, if I'm going to spend a weekly time with you on a weekly basis, we better be like, in sync. Like we better be good for one another. So of course, it's really important that the relationship is good. And of course, it's important that we speak the same language. So, so reach out, check out my contact information. I have a YouTube channel, a website, a Facebook platform, an Instagram platform. Like everything is called Soul Elevated Life. And if you love this video or you love my other videos, please share them with your friends and your family, for anyone that you think could benefit from it or could use the message. And also, if you have any referrals, let's say you're like, you know what, I might not be ready to have a life coach in my life yet, but I just had this really profound talk with a friend, and she sounds like she's looking for a life coach, and she's not quite sure, like, maybe she's not even calling it life coaching. She's like, I would really love to have a guide in my life that could really help me tap into my true power, or something of that type of nature, or some type of conversation, that realm of frequency. Then yeah, say, oh, you know what? I just learned that Tuan Schroeder is a life coach. Her life coach practice is called Soul Elevated Life, because no one can spell Tuan Schroeder. So have them check me out. Check out, everything is called Soul, SOUL, Elevated Life. And let them know about my platforms. There's my contact information in my bio, my email address, whatever there is to do. So I don't care how you get to me, just get to me. So that is, to quote Train. If you don't know the band Train, they sing things like Soul Sister, Drops of Jupiter is like their big breakthrough song. But he also sings one song called Get to Me. So I don't care how you get to me, just get to me. But whatever you do, get a life coach in your life, because you will commit suicide twice in your dream and not die, because that is the kind of life you'll be living. 3 lifetimes in one, at the very least. Sending you love, light, profound clarity, and infinite possibility for the powerful life you desire to live. Here's to you living a soul elevated life, and I will see you tomorrow.